everybody, this is Rifle Chair. This video is going to be about prepping your rifle for hunting season. And I know that I've done a video on this already for the Model 9130 Mosin-Nagant. For those of you that actually hunt with that rifle, it may be an interesting video. If that kind of thing interests you, just click right here and the annotation link will punch you through to that. This here has to do with my main hunting rig, which is the Tikka T3. Some of you have experience with the Tikka T3, and most of you that have tried the rifle platform out have decided that it's a pretty darn good one. So far as accuracy and the smooth nature of the action and so on, I've searched high and low to try to find something that can match it. At the price market, the MRSP for those rifles, they're a hell of a deal. I'm a big advocate of the Tikka T3 rifle, and I know a lot of you are too. In fact, I've got my Tikka here on the shoulder. I'm going to show you how I've got it set up. And the reason why I thought perhaps this might be interesting is because it's more than just necessarily getting your rifle set up for inclement weather. It's also about the ammunition and how you use your optical sight, if you do actually even use an optical sight. Most hunters do these days. And how you know at different ranges where your bullet is going to hit, especially if you reload like me, because I have basically a custom ammunition that I built for this rifle. Because factory ammunition is horrendously expensive. This is for the 300 Winchester Short Magnum. This is what this rifle is chambered in, and retail value for a box of ammunition is your $40+ for 20 bucks. Most of the ammunition that I've seen that is considered to be premium level bullets, and just like kind of the factory ammunition, but almost like tailor-made match hunting ammunition, can be $65+ for 20 rounds. So guys like me, who have kids, and and bills and mortgages and all these different kinds of things, we get into hand loading our own ammunition because we can emulate that quality of ammunition and maybe even do better and build it to what your particular rifle really likes. My particular rifle really likes the nozzle. It's basically kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, trying to find the right bullet, powder, primer, case combination that really works well in your rifle. I mean, my Tikka T3 may shoot this rifle, this combination brilliantly, this particular load I've got here. And another person with exactly the same rifle, it may not like it as much. So you got to find out where that medium is if you're a handler, because it's expensive. I mean, let's just look at this box of 50 rounds of, this is a Nosler AccuBond 200 grain bullet, and the retail value was $59.98 for 50 rounds. I mean, it's kind of hard to stomach that, but these are a fabulous bullet, the Nosler AccuBond. If you've ever considered looking for a good premium bullet, I'm a real believer in this bullet. Real believer. Really high ballistic coefficient, and really good when it comes to terminal performance and penetration on the kind of game that you'll be hunting with it. For me, this 200 grain bullet is the target animal is elk and moose. So I'm running a heavier bullet because I want that bone crushing penetration that you want for a large wild animal like that. You don't want to have to take any more than one shot, folks. So you use the ammunition that is appropriate for the intended purpose. So how have I got my rifle set up with all of these things in mind? So I'm going to show you. Here's the Tikka. And you'll notice a few things about it. I've got it set up right now as if I were to actually be out in the bush hunting. Okay, this is how I've got it set up for you. Okay, first thing probably that comes to mind is that I've got the muzzle taped up. just electrical tape. And all this effectively does is keep detritus or foreign objects from going down the barrel from the muzzle end. Quite often you're in the field, you know, you're walking around like this, you're walking through trees, you got branches and all kinds of things slapping you and needles falling out of trees, and some of that detritus ends up in your barrel, so that's why you tape it up. No matter what you do, you're likely going to get water or condensation inside your barrel. You can't help that, but you can help getting like foreign objects inside your bore. So that's why you do that. And does the tape have any effect so far as you know, your point of impact? I've not been able to notice any, because I've taken it to the range and I've shot it just to see what happens. No noticeable difference. Also on the rifle, for the scope caps, I've got these taped on, especially the front one. You don't necessarily need to do the rear one. There's a couple of reasons for that, and it's just simply from shooting at the range. The front lens cap falls off. It's just the recoil of the rifle, and when it's retorted, it comes back like that, and inch by inch by inch, your forward lens cover starts to fall off. So I tape it just to keep it in place. Electrical tape does a great job. So there's that. You'll also notice that there's a little something doodad here I've got taped to the rifle. And this here is basically a custom setting for the different distances for the custom load that I'm running out of this rifle. Tells you what my zero is, how many minutes of angle I need to adjust in order to reacquire a new zero at whatever distance I'm shooting at. And the scope that I've chosen, and the scope and rings that I've chosen in order to achieve this, and I've chosen very wisely in my opinion, is the following. This here is the a Leupold VX2 Canadian CDS, 3D9x40. It is an amazing good scope. Highly recommended by a rifle chair. The optics are brilliant, and the quality of the clicks. These are 1/4 minute clicks on the exposed turret here. There's a reason why I've decided chosen this video. All of my hunting rifles now have external target turrets. I won't buy a hunting rifle if it doesn't have it. I'm just done with using a quarter or a dime to try to get the clicks. I'm done with that. All of my scopes will have these. Let's see, I've got my Remington here, I'll show you. The Remington 700, same thing. Okay, it's the 1:4 by 24mm Hilux. Okay, it's got zero stop. Okay, all of my hunting rifles have these. Oh, you're just being tactical. No, I'm not being tactical, I'm just being smart. Okay, why not go with a scope that's got a BDC reticle built into it? You can. I think they're great. However, they're really designed for people that are running factory ammunition through the rifles, and they'll only shoot that one brand of ammunition, that one bullet weight. They'll shoot everything they'll shoot everything with that bullet. You know, it's a every scope manufacturer seems to have a scope out now with a BDC reticle in it. So you just align to it what your distance is to that animal, and you pull the trigger at that particular range. And it seems to work well for people. I've chosen this particular type of scope with the external clicks to make my own adjustments. You can do what you want. I'm just showing you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. First of all, why I'm doing it. I alluded to this previously. I'm shooting a custom grade of ammunition. Like, this is not this load is not something that you just go to the store and buy. It's not. So it's a custom ammunition for this rifle, and I'm shooting a 200 grain Nosler AccuBond at 2,778 feet per second in this 300 short mag. That's pretty hot, and it's not a lot of fun to shoot. to be honest with you. Thankfully, the ticket has a really nice recoil pad on it here. I think that's a decelerator or a limb saver. So what I have here is from these settings here that I've developed in partnership with using the Hornady Ballistics calculator, because you got to get yourself kind of zeroed in. I know what my velocity is because I've chronographed them, and from that chronographing I plug the details into the Hornady Ballistics calculator to give myself some basic come-ups, and these are in minutes of angle. And what you need to do is go to google.com and type in Hornady Ballistic Calculator, and it's a really great program. If you're like me and you don't use a BDC, which means bullet drop compensating reticle, if you don't use a bullet drop compensating reticle, well, you're going to be running turrets. One of the other benefits of the scope is that if you have a custom load, you can send it to Korth Group, and this is if you're in Canada. You can send your information, the type of bullet, the ballistic coefficient, all this information, and you send it to Korth Group, Korth Group. Just stick it in Google, it'll come up for you. And they'll send you back a custom dial. This is called the CDS, which is what a CDS stands for. Custom dial system. Okay, so essentially what I have here is a custom dial system here. I know where my bullet drops are at different distances. Send that information to Korth Group. They'll send you back a custom dial. You just pop it on here, lock it in, and you just dial to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, being the number of hundreds of meters away that you're shooting at your target at. And it's essentially going to be the same dial that I have here, but it's got the range indicators on them. So they're a great company, Korth Group. They work exclusively, as I understand it, on Leupold products in Canada. That's where you go if you need custom work done. They'll replace your dials for you. If it comes with an external kind of a ballistic type of adjustment turret like this one here, then they can replace those with an M1, M2, or an M3 style Leupold turret. So really great that way, and they can give you the custom turrets, like I said. I've just settled on your standard duplex rattle with this scope because that's what I'm used to. I don't like having all this information visually, with different aiming points and whatnot. I just want one aiming point, and I want it to be in the middle of my field of view inside the scope. This is how I rock and roll. I'm not saying that ballistic turrets are bad. It's just they're not for me. And this system works. So you plug the information into the ballistics calculator. It's going to ask you for whether you want it to be standard or metric, which means you're going to be in yards or in meters. Or they're going to want a description, so you call it 200 grain AccuBond, or whatever you want to call it, just for the report out you're going to get. They're going to want the ballistic coefficient of the bullet. Now, if you don't know what the the ballistic coefficient for your bullet is, then you need to go find your reloading manual. It'll specify in here. This one is an older book. This one was published in 1996, so the nozzle AccuBond isn't even in here yet. In fact, the 300 Winchester short mag isn't even in here because it hadn't been invented yet. But if you have a modern manual, their ballistic coefficient information will be in here. I looked for it on the box here, which Nosler, if you're listening, a good place for you to put the ballistic coefficient information is actually on the box, so that people don't have to go looking for it. I mean, $60 for 50 bullets. You can put the ballistic coefficient on the box. Thanks, Nosler. If it's not in your reloading manual, then you can go to the Nosler website, and all that information is there for you. Just go to the bullet type that you're looking for, and all of your ballistic coefficient data is on the website if you have internet access. You're going to need to punch into the calculator the velocity. This is the muzzle velocity. You're going to have to type in the bullet weight, the maximum range that you want data printed out for you, and your bullet drop interval. So what I like to do is I'll have a bullet drop at 100, 200, 300, 400, and up to 500. Because generally, when I'm hunting, very, very rarely would I even consider pulling the trigger on an animal at 500 meters. But that's just me. What is your zero distance? I always have a 200 meter zero for all of my hunting rifles, and with one exception. And what is your height sight? And the default is usually about 1.5 inches, and this essentially is from the center of your scope to the center of the muzzle of your rifle. What is that distance? And it's usually about 1.5 inches. All right, they're going to want to know that. And that's your basic information. There is an advanced feature in the calculator, such as what's the drag function, the shooting angle you're going to be shooting at, the wind speed, the wind angle, the altitude, the temperature, air pressure, and what's the relative humidity. So if you have all that information, most of us don't. I mean, you also have to think ahead of time to when you're going to be hunting, what those conditions and where you're going to be hunting, when you're going to be hunting, what are the prevalent weather conditions of the time, what is the altitude you're likely going to be hunting. So if you're really, really into developing custom ammunition to that level, then you're one level above me, because I don't get into that length of detail when it comes to my computations. So that's essentially it. A custom load for a rifle, so you're able to determine at 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 meters where your bullet's going to hit. I've taken that information, I've taken steel out to my austere range, where I can actually engage targets out to 500 meters. And I was very surprised. I figured I was going to have to do some major modifications to the data. Turns out I didn't. So it was I was really, really happy with the Hornady ballistic calculator. I found the information to be dead bang on. No serious adjustments was required. Took the data after I ground truthed it, and I've plasticized it and taped it using shipping tape onto the buttstock of my rifle. So if I see a creature at 400 meters, I know I've got to adjust 5 minutes of angle on my turret. Right? I'm at 5 minutes of angle, I can engage my target. And hopefully if you do so, you do it with a scope. Covers up. Okay? I'm not going to use the ballistic the ballistic reticles for that. First of all, you need to adjust your power setting to a specific power setting so that your ballistic reticle is being used correctly, as I understand it. And if you forget to do that, you could miss, right? Scare the animal off or wound it. Again, I'm sure lots of you out there have much more experience in ballistic reticles than I do. This is how I roll. Nothing wrong with the other systems. So there we go. Will this work for, let's say, rifles with open sights? Absolutely. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't use a ballistic calculator for that too. Let's use this as an example. Here we have a little Mauser carbine made by FN, Fabrique Nationale, Herstel, and this rifle is an 8x57 Mauser, 8mm Mauser, and I shoot a 218 grain Cupro nickel plated bullet out of this thing. You can imagine the fireball that comes out of it after you engage your target. It's pretty significant, but it's a handy little carbine. Great 220 grain bullets. If a bear pops its head out of the bush and charges you and your family, it takes only 1 or 2 shots to put that thing down with something like this. It's light, easy to maneuver around bushes and whatnot, but am I really going to be engaging a target at great distance with this rifle? Probably not. No, this is for up-close personal targets. However, a ballistic calculator will work for this too. So whatever, so for the 218 grain bullet that I'm shooting paper with that stuff. We got 220 grain Spitzer bullets for the nasty creatures in the bush, soft point ammunition. But absolutely, I'll use that once I get my homework done, figure out exactly what my muzzle velocities are with this. Hopefully I don't blow up my chronograph with the flame coming off the muzzle of this little carbine here, but great little rifles. We have actually, I think this is funny, little carbine's got sight adjustments all the way out to 1,400 meters on this thing, and I think that's kind of funny. I guess that's almost volley fire. Great little rifle. So that's it, folks. Hope you got something out of that. Some of you out there having some difficulties with engaging your targets at different distances. The ballistic turrets may not ballistic reticle might work for you, it might not work for you. Just wanted to show you what an alternative to that. Everybody seems to be jumping on the ballistic reticle bandwagon. Incidentally, one of the reasons why we will run custom ammunition is because they perform specifically well in your rifle. And so there's a three round one hole group with the Tikka at 100 meters, and here's a pretty average group at 200 meters with that rifle. It's about 1.5 inches at 200 meters, and here's another Tikka T3 target at what's that one? That's 200 meters as well. There's actually 3 holes. It looks like 2 holes, but there's actually 3 holes there. So it's a really good rifle when it comes to the accuracy department. I'm a real believer in the Tikka T3, and I think a lot of you are too. So that's Rifle Chair signing off for now. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, Maple Leaf up.